Hey guys, figured I'd just jump on here live. Got a bunch of questions folks been sending me. It is 3 o'clock, 2:37 on a Thursday afternoon. I got some mowing I got to get done, but I figured I'd just jump on a live stream first and foremost. So if anyone's there is great. If not, we're just going to do some blow through some questions I got. So my man Craig writes in, not sure if you follow a guy out here in San Jose. His name is Harry Sitt, author of The Finance Buff. But he's similar to your honest and straight ahead type of guy. All right. He wrote a while back and a CD, and just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, by the way, if you don't mind, because I do have this mic and hey, what's going on, Jack? Right on, man. Jack, just give me a thumbs up. Okay, cool. Right on. Let's see. Anyway, he said he wrote a while back in an article, The CD versus Bond Fund, January 15th, 2019, and he showed that the CD, the 5-year CD did better than the bond index. Fast forward, the bond index has returned more than 9% the first 8 months of 2019. Is this just luck of the draw? I know that when interest rates drop, the cost of the bond goes up. All right, so the answer to that is absolutely. It's just luck of the draw. I mean, I'll show you guys this until I don't have a thing to. So I can use my shirt to wipe this off. Oof. I'll show you guys how this works because it's incredibly, incredibly important to understand. Oops. Bonds. It's literally the easiest thing in the world ever to know. Issued at 1,000, matures at 1,000. It's literally that, nothing else. That's literally how it works. It's issued at 1,000, matures at 1,000. Sometimes the price goes up, sometimes it goes down, but it always reverts back to $1,000. Always. So even though the bond is up 9% this year, it doesn't mean anything. And the reason for that is because it cannot give you a 9% return. And if the coupon is only the long-term bond fund is probably 3%. So what's going to happen is because the interest rates went down, the current value of those issued bonds went up. So I'll see if I can do this. The interest rate goes up. Down, the current value of the bonds goes up, but inherently they have to come back down because inherently they got to mature at 1,000, and so you will give away that 9% capital gain because it's not true appreciation. It's just and people say, well, I can sell it for 9% capital appreciation. I said, yeah, go invest in something else that gives you the same yield you have on that bond. You're not going to do it. It's not going to happen. Do not, please. Do not get caught up in bonds. I'm telling you. And what I mean, don't buy them. I just say don't get caught up in the returns. I will never forget this. I had a guy. He was outside of Philly, someplace in a nice house, a country house in Philly. I went to meet him because when you're trying to raise money to live on, you'll go meet anybody anywhere. That's why these financial advisors, I'll come to your house. Insurance guys, I'll come to your house because they know if they can come to your house, they're probably going to get paid more often than not, and they get paid a lot. Well, so I had this guy, and I met him at his house, and I was talking about individual bonds as opposed to the bond fund. USA had a freaking awesome bond fund going back to 1974, and he's looking at the returns. He goes, "What's your expectations of the bond fund?" And I said, well, the expectation on the bond fund or the bonds that you're going to get about 3.5. He goes, well, this USA fund has averaged over 8% a year going back to 1974. I said, you're not going to get that. It's impossible to get that. He goes, well, and I could tell he just didn't believe me. And I get it. He's like, this bond fund has averaged 8% a year since 1974. And you're telling me your individual bonds will only give me 3.25. I said, yes, there's just no getting around that. And unfortunately for him, I don't know, however you want to look at it, he didn't end up going with me because he's like, he could not say, why is this guy selling me on something that I've seen that has averaged 8%, and he's telling me I should buy something else that's 3.25. He just could not see how this works. And no matter how I drew this out, it just for him, he just thought he's looking at bonds like stocks. They're not like stocks. Bonds are the easiest thing to ascertain. To say, what am I going to get for my return? It's literally your current yield. Your current yield, that's it, man. You're not getting any more. You might get less if the bond if the bond goes kaput, but you're not getting any more. So anyway, I hope that answers my man Craig. All right, so Rick says, I enjoyed your video on taking debt a loan from your retirement account to pay off debt. I'm currently 29 with $35K. With the recession looming, should I use that to pay off my $8,000 credit card debt? It has nothing to do with the recession, literally nothing, because recessions are forever, always will ever be looming. Don't do anything because of recession. Just don't do that, man. You don't know. Are we in a recession now? We don't know. We'll never know because there's always hindsight. You don't know what the recession is. You're sitting there, not you, but we're sitting there saying recession is looming. Well, we might be in it now. We don't know because how do they? What is a recession dictated by? The last 2 quarters of negative growth. And so we could be in one of those quarters, but we just don't know. So no, the answer to that is regardless of recession or booming market. But yeah, I mean, if your credit card is costing you a pretty good amount of money, more certainly, more than 5.5%, I would absolutely do that, Rick, without question, because you're paying yourself back without question. And going along the line with a recession, which I kind of think is where you're going with this, which is actually pretty good thinking. If the market falls, you're basically locking in that gain right now, essentially, to pay off this credit card debt. I think that's actually a good move, but don't go on the recession and say, could we have a decline in the market? Yes, no, or otherwise. If the answer is we could, and you got credit card debt, hell, get out of there while the getting's good for sure. I mean, you're not going to burn through your entire portfolio either, by the way. So no, I think that 100% makes sense. Jack says, watch a video on SPIAs yesterday. Ooh, I got to say real quick, Right Capital software has changed. FYI, Right Capital software has changed. I haven't had a chance to look at it too much, but I was working with a guy today from Phoenix. And I was like, where are all these buttons? Where's the expense button? It looks like to me they're trying to make it more like e-money. And e-money is the cat's meow when it comes to financial planning software. Other than the tax stuff, Right Capital by far smokes e-money, not even close. And if you like tax planning, which I am weird that I do, Right Capital is the way to go, without question. E-money is better on estate planning, better on investments, but taxes, Right Capital is just as smokes it. And Right Capital is a heck of a lot cheaper too. So, but anyway, they're trying to be more like e-money, where you click these links, these hyperlinks, and it opens up another thing. You click on that, and just it's pretty cool. I like that a lot. It takes a little bit of time to get used to it, because I was looking at it, where are the expenses? And you have to do under cash flow. And then you'll see the columns you click on expense. One thing I don't like is that, I don't know, I haven't looked, I literally just saw this for a second. Yeah, right on. Tracy G. All right, cool. Good. Yay. All right, I'm glad to hear that. You got it, Rick. Tracy says he likes it. Yeah, easy to drill down from a summary cash flow screen. Exactly. That's exactly right, Tracy. Tracy says easy to drill down from a summary cash flow screen, because now you got the cash flow. You can just click on. I like that a lot, just like e-money. I didn't see if they do a running tally of taxes. I keep emailing them that you all should change that to just do a running tally, but I didn't see that. Warner Roberts, right on. That's good, man. I appreciate that, Trace. Oh, God, you liked it. All right, so here real quick. Watch a video on SPIAs. Why do that instead of invest in stocks or anything great? Because markets. I mean, Jack, you're looking at, just going. So Jack's question is, I wish I had a thing to using my T-shirt. It's like I used to clean your rifle when you're in the Army with your T-shirt. You'd cut it if you didn't have anything to clean it, and then you cut the bottom of your T-shirt and wipe it down. And so you'd always need to go to the PX to get more brown T-shirts. All right, so in the Marine Corps, I guess they use those butt ugly green. We had the brown ones in the Army because we were cool. All right, so basically what the premise here is, you got $1 million. The market falls 55% in 2007 to 2009. So now you're sitting on 450. All right, that's bad. That's bad. And if you have $1 million and now you're sitting on 450 and you're pulling money out from that, that's going to put you in a world of hurt. And so, as a risk mitigation, remember, risk mitigation isn't about efficiency. Efficiency, and I think a lot of people make the mistake. In fact, I was reading somebody who's talking about who was it? It was actually, I forgot, but he's talking about how the bucket strategy ruins net worth. And because it's not as efficient. I said, dude, that's just freaking stupid, because we're not talking about efficiency in retirement. We're talking about making sure, A, you can sleep at night, and B, that you don't run out of money. So my premise is to take, of that $1 million, you take 400,000, and there's no science behind this number, into a single premium income annuity, a SPIA, and that was going to generate something like 25,000 a year of income. Now you still have 600,000 to to do what the market does, go up, go down, go up, and go down. So here you're locking in essentially it's a pension. It's literally what it is. You're locking in a pension. So if the market goes down, you got this, which will never go down. If the market goes up, well, you have access to the market for a good amount of your portfolio. And so the issue that it's just a matter of risk management, risk mitigation. What's the biggest risk out there? Well, the biggest risk, in my opinion, is market decline while you're living in what's actually the biggest risk is inflation. No other way around that. And I mean, I don't mean just 2% inflation. I mean big time inflation. So if you have now, we're not dealing with inflation. SPIA would not be a good thing, income annuity in an inflationary society, because it's not going to adjust for inflation. I don't think it's inflation's coming. I'm actually convinced inflation is not coming. I've done 180. Is this what people say? You're so close-minded, you conservatives. I'm like, I'm not close-minded. Just give me a good argument. I'll be happy to entertain it. I love getting into the weeds of various arguments, but I've changed my philosophy 100% on inflation versus deflation. I'm more of a deflationary mindset. So because of that, SPIAs, which are fixed, and stocks, which have growth potential, are the way to deal with deflation for sure. So the best thing is you got at least 400,000 locked in. You don't have to worry about that. You're not going to get any upside, but then you got the stocks that will go like this. But I still believe in the stock market, as I did a video earlier today to talk about that. So that's why the issue is just protect the bottom, protect the downside. What do you suggest for income from your investments without tying up your money in an annuity? I always use a 5% rule, Richard, just 5% each and every year. I mean, you can do 5% adjusted with inflation if you want, for sure. You can do 5%. So on $1 million, that's $50,000 a year. Wait till the next year and see how much you got in there and take another 5% off if you want. But even if you want to adjust that with inflation, 5% is fine without question. I'd say 5%, so I got, $900,000 the next year. So I'm taking more than 5%. Okay. But the likelihood of 5% not lasting beyond your life is pretty small. I mean, if you look at, you got to take out the 70s, because the 70s were the great inflationary time. And nothing worked in the 70s. I mean, literally nothing. The 4% rule didn't work, so nothing did. So if we take out the 70s, because we had low market returns and high inflation, and we look at something like the 30s, which was deflationary, I don't think we'll ever have a huge deflationary like we did in the 30s. But I think the 2000s are more likely, which is low inflation, rather poor performance relatively speaking, historically on stocks with pretty big swings. I think the 2000s is more likely the biggest hurdle you got to jump over. And if you look at that 5% a year, you're fine without question. Harry, what's going on, Harry? Baltimore, Maryland in the house, eating some crabs. Collect precious metals. I enjoy it, but I know it's not the best investment. Yeah, like Graham Stevens said a while back, said, gold isn't an investment. I agree with that 100%. And I'm not investing in gold. I'm buying gold for the calamities and the fact it's interesting. And you like to have it there at a sideline. Exactly. I don't get this. I'm investing in gold, and I don't think that's the right way to look at it. I'm protecting with my gold. It's kind of like, you buy shotgun shells. You got some buckshot. You're not investing in buckshot. You have buckshot for protection. I mean, it's not an investment, it's protecting. So why do you buy gold? For protection. What do you mean protection? Well, if the calamities happen, the zombies come, gold will have some value. Your stock market won't, your fiat currency won't, but gold will. So it's protection. Nothing wrong with that. It doesn't make you paranoid prepper. Oh my goodness, I got Alex Jones in my, what's that stuff, tinfoil hat. Just means, hey, you got to look at everything that's out there. Rob in the house. What's up, man? Let's see. What's up from Texas? Right on, Ben. Any advice for investing in trailer parks, man? You can make a lot of money investing in trailer parks. I mean, anytime the pitfall's always going to be debt. Anytime you're taking debt, it's always a risk. But trailer parks are I've shared this story a million times, but I had a friend of mine back when we lived in Shenandoah Valley, and he had a couple trailer parks, probably 8 units in one, and I think 6 units in the other, right on the Rockham County, West Virginia line, going up 33 towards West Virginia. And a couple times, because I need money, I had no money, and we had kids, and I went and I helped them redo the skirting on these are just single trailers, mobile homes, not even double wides. And we had to redo the skirting. That was freaking pain in the butt, man. Let me tell you, I was like, ooh, but he paid me like $10, $15 an hour. And I said, his name's Mike. I said, Mike, how would you make all these things? I said, is it worth it? And I was his banker. So long story short, I got to know he was making pretty good money. Let's just put that on Trail Park. So I don't have any advice on it, but I think it's a great move without question. I am a huge fan of Wellington. Don't get me wrong. I will get on my book on that. I am knee deep in my course right now. So my course I'm looking forward to very, very much. And it's I can't wait. It's actually I think I'm overthinking this some. And what I mean by that is I'm trying to follow this model, like chapter 1 this, chapter 2 this. And I think what I'm going to do is a heavy focus on case studies. I'm a big fan of case studies because I think a lot of people can grasp if that fits them or not. And if it does fit them, it's very satisfactory towards them. If they don't, they can skip on and go some other stuff. So it's be heavy on case studies, heavy on strategies, but also we are going to talk just basic concepts so people know what to look for in terms of starting out in retirement, looking at retirement strategies for sure. So yeah, I collect metal too. Plenty of lead. Exactly. Yeah, I don't think hyperinflation's anywhere. I don't think we have to worry about hyperinflation. Now, my man Rob told me about Venezuela has 10 million inflation, 10 million% inflation. Anytime socialism happens, inflation results because there's always scarcity. Always scarcity. Never stops. It always does because it's top down. Top down. The government knows best, and the government never does know best. They don't know what the individual transactions that you and I make 100 like. Is an individual choice for me to jump on this. It's an individual choice for you to jump on this as opposed to doing something else. We make all these individual choices as human beings, and the combination of these are society. But my society is just me. It's just me doing what I do, and your society is just you doing what you do. So the idea that some government, Alan Greenspan or something like that, can say, "Hey, I know what needs to be done," it's nuts, and so it'll never work. And so they say we're going to make. There'll always be scarce products because there's always price controls, and price controls forever leads to scarcity. And whenever you have scarcity, you have inflation. There's just no two ways around it. So yeah, I feel bad for those people in Venezuela who got their vote stolen, which is why we need a solid voting system here. And we shouldn't let illegal immigrants vote. By God, man, they're not freaking immigrants. So we shouldn't be able to, they're not legal, or they certainly shouldn't have a right to vote. It's nuts. And anytime these people do, they're robbing American citizens the right to vote. And anytime you do that, that's what happened in Venezuela. We know this happens in all these places. Venezuela and Jimmy Carter knew that Hugo Chavez stole the election, but Jimmy Carter, because he's a fellow traveler with Hugo Chavez, he said, no, I give it my blessing. You know, like Carter, you freaking everyone knew this guy was cheating, but just because you're a fellow traveler, anti-Semite, which Jimmy Carter certainly is, and Hugo Chavez certainly was, you gave it your blessing. And it's sad because lots of people did not vote for this clown, and yet they're stuck with the remnants of it. And I guess the people on the left will say, well, same thing with Trump. No, if you just would have looked at the polls, man, if you just looked, like I'm reading right now, Trump's got a 25% approval rate in Virginia. I frankly just don't care. I don't believe her 2 seconds. And I read another one that Trump is losing by 9 percentage points to all these leftists. And I just say, did we not learn anything from 2016? What matters for the polls isn't the net result, is what they use to construct it. Who are they interviewing? It's nuts. And so look, will Trump lose? I don't know. But at the end of the day, the idea that Trump is going to lose by twice as much as Romney lost to Obama, it's silly. So you got to say, A, you can't pay attention, and B, you got to say it's almost like Monte Carlo. I can make you look like a millionaire 20 years from now. It's just junk in, junk out. So all these people with these polls and stuff like that, and then people, it's nuts. Monte Carlo, if I say you're going to have a 12% rate of return like Dave Ramsey, you're going to be a multimillionaire. And absolutely, I can prove it on my models. My models show you're going to be a multimillionaire. You're like, Josh, that doesn't make any sense. Exactly. Why does it make sense? Well, not because the end result, but because of junk that went in. That's what you got to know. Greenspan has been saying stagflation is now unavoidable due to unfunded liabilities and demographic shifts. Actually, that's interesting. I was looking at my man Bruce from Miami has sent me a thing about the demographic shifts, and I think that's of interest. I would not be surprised a little bit of stagflation. We think of stagflation in the hyper, or at least inflated inflation for the 70s. I don't think we're going to get that. I actually think it's going to be different. I think it's going to be I'm convinced of the Japanese. I think that's what we're looking at. We're looking at low returns, certainly no returns on bonds, certainly very low returns on cash. Unlike the Japanese, though, we still have a more of a entrepreneur society that Japan does not. So I still think stocks are the way to go. But I don't think there's going to be much in terms of the way of bubbles, real estate, bonds. I think stocks are not in bubble. That's just my bias for sure. So I think you can still see that you can make money in the stock market. I just don't think that in terms of in having real estate as your primary opportunity. I think it's gonna be tough. I really, really do. Stagflation. I just don't see inflationary. I guess you could say it's inflationary for nursing homes. I'm trying to get this lady I can interview who runs nursing homes in Michigan. And she says she's got a waiting list as far as the eye can see. So anytime you get a big waiting list equals what? Equals demand. Anytime demand is high, what does that do to prices? It increases prices. All right. So we have scarcity. We have a nursing home, not a glut, the opposite of a glut. We don't have enough nursing homes. And so because we don't have enough nursing homes, we got this huge demographic shift. There will be inflationary on nursing homes, but I don't think there'll be inflationary stuff on homes, which is the biggest source of our expenses, mine by far. So we'll see. Wellington book, Kenny, will come out after I'm done with this course. I just focus on my head. I got to get this course done. I've been meaning to do it for a long, long time. And to be honest, I think I make some money on it too, which is, not, hey, at the end of the day, I'm a capitalist. I want to make money, but I think it's a help. If I could show you how many people go to my Google Analytics on my feed page, there's a lot of people that go to my feed page. Like today, I got 15. Yesterday, and this is just Google Analytics, what they're tracking. Yesterday, I had 32 people on my feed page. I don't get that many people hiring me for financial planning. I couldn't handle it. I'm literally just enough what I got right now. But if I had something else to offer them, I think, A, it could help them. B, I think it'd be valuable, a win-win, voluntary. They don't have to pay it, but I'd be happy to accept $500 from them. They'd hopefully be happy to spend $500 as opposed to anything else that I can offer. So I'm looking forward to getting that out there. I think it'd be profitable for me. I think people would get a lot out of that. I think I'm turning away a lot of people here, and I kind of deliberately. You only have so much capacity to engage in full-fledged financial planning. So I'm looking forward to doing the course. And then on top of that, you got the right capital software, kind of setting up where a lot of people who maybe don't want to spend, a couple $1,000, they can do it on their own. And I think that's better than, going to some freaking loser with a 1% fee on assets. I will make you, don't do that. All right. Let's see. Tariffs. They can, they talk about Smoot-Hawley. It caused the Great Depression. It did not. But tariffs will certainly increase prices. No getting around that. But at the end of the day, the war is going on, Paul. Just we weren't engaged, and now we're engaged. So kudos to Trump for finally fighting back against the commies. I just about time. Bush didn't do anything. Obama didn't do anything. Clinton didn't do anything. George H.W. Bush, was promoting what most favored nations and NAFTA. Then Clinton signed NAFTA. The whole thing's just been a scam since day one. Republicans and Democrats not taking care of our own. It's So yeah, we're going to pay more for goods. But the funny thing is, what's going to happen is China, that ain't the only game in town. That's what makes it so great. We are the freaking, we just rule the school. We we just rule it. And if people can't adhere to us and what our needs are, which is taking care of our own people, well, you got to get in the back seat because other countries will. And I love it. I love what we're doing. I think it's great. I think if that's what's going to make China blink, is some tariffs, man, more power to them. They're communists. Anytime we can stick it to the commies, I'm a big fan. Was it Jingostic or whatever it's called? No, I'm not anti-Chinese people. I'm anti-communist, be it Russian white people, be it Cuban brown people, be it Chinese, whatever, Chinese people. If they're commies, I can't stand them. And anytime we can stick it to them, I'm all for it, man. So I'm all about it. So in that case, go Trump without question. I watched your video about being a financial coach, not getting a CFP, just coaching. What's your thought on Dave Ramsey? Yeah, I think that's pretty good, actually. I'm not a huge fan of Dave Ramsey on the investing side, Jack, but on the number one thing people need is debt management skills and budgeting. They don't need investments. In fact, even though I took it to task, this stupid article I read that 60% of people don't have a financial or retirement account. It's just fake news. But at the end of the day, 100% of the people have debt, essentially. Obviously not really 100, but there are a hell of a lot more people with debt. than have than don't have assets. Let's just put it that way. So financial coaching has to be that. It has to focus on the cash flow side, the balance sheet, the liability side of the balance sheet, and the expenditure side of cash flow. And I think Dave Ramsey stuff is spot on without question. Japan has I keep getting this guy calling me. Just leave a message. It's like the 5th time this guy's called. I don't understand why he can't leave a message. I don't know who it is, so I don't pick it up. By the way, if you're looking at inquiring about hiring, send me an email, please. I've had 2 or 3 guys just last day. So they want to talk to me about my services before they hire me. I simply just don't have the time for that. I know that sounds cocky, but I put everything I can out online for everybody to see, and you know who I am. I think you have a pretty good gauge of what I do, and my fees are out there for all to see. I can't talk to everybody who wants to talk to me before they hire me, and I get it. It's tough. I'm asking a lot of money from you. It's buyer beware. It's just I just don't have the resources to talk to everybody that say, I want to talk to you about what you can do for me. I just don't have the ability to do that. Sorry. Again, that might sound cocky. I don't mean to, but it's just the way it is. Japan has an older society. This is a way for us to use immigration to make our society younger and help Social Security. Yeah, I got no problem with immigration. I've always, I'm a freaking Austrian from the economics school. I believe in freaking immigration. In fact, I used to have a free minds, free markets from the Reason magazine t-shirt. But we have a right to police up who's coming in. Absolutely. We have an absolute right to know who's coming here. We have an absolute right to allow the people to come here who are going to benefit us, benefit this country. We're not serving them. They're here to serve us. That's the way it always has been. It's the way it should be. I don't know where this change is. Bush is the guy. It was Reagan from his freaking stupid Simpson, whatever the guy's name, Alan Simpson, some other guy in '86. The first, whatever it's called, legalization of illegals, and then it went on to all these other guys. But Bush and him and McCain were big on that. Freaking nuts, man. I said we have a right to know who's here. We have a right to know who wants to come here, and we have a right to put up some kind of barrier to keep them from coming here. If we need people to pick the freaking stuff and they want to go back to Mexico, I got no problem. None whatsoever. None. I think it's a great thing, but we need to know who's coming in here. Man, that's the whole idea that to police up your borders makes her anti-immigrant. It's freaking stupid. It just drives me crazy that people even remotely think that. No. Bring them all. Hell, I'd open the door to all these Venezuelans and Cubans in 2 seconds flat. You want to see some hardworking, crazy people? Open that door to those Cubans, man. They come here and bust their butt. Hell, a lot more than freaking half the college, high school people that we have here in the U.S. The Bernie Sanders flag waving Antifa clowns. I'd take those Cubans any day of the week over those people. 100 times out of 100. Man, bring those Vietnamese people in here. From the old days, those guys kicked butt and took names. Absolutely. I'd take all those guys any day of the week. The issue is we have a right to know who's coming here, and we get to police up our border. It's not difficult. I would just say just follow the Mexican model. Follow the Mexican model, because that model is pretty tight. Going one direction. Here's Mexico. If you come there, they're watching their backs, but the door's open to come here, and it's the wrong answer. So I'm all about it. All right, so my man Jerry, is money going to start to roll heavily into higher yielding stocks and safe? I read a couple articles on that, Jerry, about the bonds, not bonds, but high dividend stocks are paying more than bonds. Let's see if I have it. Reminds me, just like this article from 2007, July 24th, 2007, why banks beat bonds. Fortune magazine's Sean Tully says these stocks offer an appealing combination of juicy yields and growth. Plus, they're cheap. I fell for that hook, line, and sinker. I said, yeah, you're right, man. Bank of America stock back then had a dividend that was taxed better than the bond it was. So Bank of America was yielding 5.5, whatever it was. The bond was yielding 4.5. The bond was taxed as OI. The stock was taxed at QDI. On top of that, you had a growth potential Bank of America stock. Just be careful. 2007, could you literally have timed that any worse? Well, it was October 2007 when the markets fell. Had a guy ask me today, what did I do in 2008? Because I said I'm bullish on stocks. And I think he was a liberal guy, nice guy, but I think he was challenging me on my thought process of stocks. The idea that could you have hung in there in 2008 and 8 and 9. And I reminded him the market chaos started in October 2007. So we can't overlook that. And the answer is no, I didn't. I will readily admit I made a mistake in March of I've said this a million times this Sunday. I was just started at USAA about 8 months previous. I just was able to get out from freaking Citibank. They had a 0% balance for life transfer credit card on my credit card. So I have 15,000 with Citibank, 0% balance for life or interest for life. And I just got a letter from them saying they're raising my rate to, I don't know, 15%. I said, why? And they said, oh, because anytime there's market chaos, whatever it was, we have to reserve the right to do that in the fine print. I said, you freaking scumbags. I was so mad. I didn't have the money. We had no money. I mean, I was working at USA making decent money. We had a mortgage. We had 4 young kids. We had a Citibank thing, and I had something else I forgot. I needed a new car because my car, the AC broke. And I was like, dude, it's nuts. So anyway, so what I did is that if we got laid off, I got laid off at USAA, I literally had nothing to do. I mean, I was just sitting around there picking my nose saying, is there anything to do? And I said, there's no way they're going to keep me. So I knew that if I got laid off, and I thought the potential was quite high. I mean, first in, first out. That's the way typical unions are. And we weren't union, but that's generally the way it is at FIFO. I said, if we go to bad to worse, I'm going to lose my job. And if I keep throwing my 401k money after stocks and it keeps going down, I'm going to be in a world of hurt. So what I did is I simply kept my stocks as they were because they had already lost so much money, and my new contributions were going to bonds. I did that for about a month, and that's it. Then I said, this is dumb. I've always hated bonds. What are you doing? I said, just going to have to ride out and see what happens. So that I did. But even then, I'd say, of my portfolio, which wasn't much then, I'd say 20% was ultimately in bonds, the rest in stocks. I did that for about a month, and I got back out. But the point wasn't that because the bonds or stocks or CDs were better. It's because I had the debt. And I said, if I get laid off, how am I going to pay my mortgage? I got 4 kids. We just moved to Texas from Virginia. I can't be freaking. I can't not have the money to pay my mortgage. You know what I'm saying? And back then, it wasn't as easy as today to find a new job. I mean, my goodness, unemployment, while it was high, and people were losing work. So it wasn't like the Great Depression, but hiring wasn't that easy. And anyway, so it was a different time. If I didn't have debt, I would have stayed all in stocks. Again, my 3 years of cash, the rest in stocks. I don't have 3 years of cash back then. I don't have 3 years of cash now. But that's what I'm trying to build to, and I still have a fat mortgage. But because of you all, I've been able to pay off I had a little bit of credit card debt and my car loan. So the only debt I have here shortly will be this house right here. And trust me, it's not low. But I mean, thankfully, you guys are here. I appreciate. I can't tell you how freaking gratified I am that you all are here. And just watching the videos makes me money. It doesn't make me rich, but it makes me money. And then other people decide to hire me. It's a freaking. I'm completely. And I won't say blessed, because even if I wasn't doing this, I'd still be blessed. But I'm humbled. But because you are here right now, has allowed me to get a little bit better control of my financial situation. I was making over $200,000 at USAA when they had the bonuses factor in. I was making pretty good money, and leaving that to go do this was a freaking risk, man. And I burnt through probably 6 figures of my 401k/IRA trying to make ends meet in the first year of doing this, for sure. And I said, once I get down this other threshold, $100,000 in my 401k, I'm gonna have to go find another crappy old job. Didn't get quite down that low, but I wouldn't even say within spitting distance, but low enough that I was getting a little bit nervous. And then this year has just been great. I am absolutely I just could not be happier. And I just thank you for being here. So anyway, a lot of people say, why do you do so many videos? Because I do feel like I'm offering something. And I do feel like I have to give back of the financial success. And I hate to say like I'm giving back. I don't mean like that, but I think I can be of a service to many, many people doing this. And but it's even more than that. I love it. Crazy. I love doing it. It's weird. I know. All right, working on getting Maggi down to 0 with Roth conversions. Should I delay selling long-term capital gains until I have the conversions done? Yeah. I would. But stock options, company stocks. Not knowing the stock, Rob, that concerns me some. Just having watched Enron, and it's not just Enron. It's so many instances of companies going kaput. But the Enron's an easy one to talk about. yeah, I probably would still hang tight. As long as you feel pretty comfortable in the stock, I would probably hang tight for sure. China needs a U.S. consumer more than we need them. Right on, Bob. Could not agree with that more. Big money in storage units here in California, says Sergio. Yeah, man, I tell you, man, that is, when I was growing up, we didn't have any of this freaking public storage units. It's crazy. I think that shows you our consumer mentality in the United States last 30 years, which isn't good. And on top of that, on top of the divorce is happening more than they used to happen as well. Because homes splitting up. Yeah, no, it's probably more of a mobile population as well. Those three things. Buckeye State, my man Bruce Deerhake. I think you're right. We need to get off the China crack of low Walmart. Yeah, it's actually interesting, Paul. As I was doing, I said this the other day, and when I was reading my book on Japan. Yeah, this guy right here, my man Richard Koo, and he's talking about back in the day that we bought Japan, and that's, again, the holy grail of macroeconomics. I love this book. I am such a huge fan of it. But he was talking, hold on, let me just do a time check. Okay. Anyway, he's talking about that back in the day, we would buy the Japanese products because they were made better than domestically manufactured products. And I used the example of my mom with her first Ford Escort. And now it's the exact opposite. I mean, it's just funny. Chinese products, we all know are crap. If you want a good product, you buy an U.S. made product. The problem that we have, and we're all guilty of this, is even if it costs just a little bit more, we're still buying the Chinese goods. Even if Americans cost just a little bit more, we're still going the Chinese route. We're just so used to that, and B, it's just all bottom line stuff, and it's just a disposable society. And they did a study on this. Somebody, I can't remember who, but some economic professor, and they said even when the price was like 1 penny different, people still went the Chinese route. Or something like that. It probably wasn't that low, but it's like the Made in America thing did not sway anybody at all, which is sad, even though our products are probably superior. Do you own any individual? No, I do not own any individual stocks, Corman. The only thing I own, I'm happy to say, is VTV, Victory Tango Victory. That's a Vanguard large value index fund. Not saying you should buy it, not saying anyone should buy it. It's what I own. It's the only thing I own, VTV, Vanguard large cap value ETF. If you went full REITs for your retirement, would that be such a bad thing? Like, I get growth would be low, but I don't. I would say, I just think the growth would be low is easier to overlook. That compounding growth at 7% a year in stocks is pretty significant. I mean, I get it, 7% compounding versus 5%, but man, over 10, 15, 20 years, that's going to be a big difference. I wouldn't go all REITs. Alberto, right on. Alberto's here. My man Alberto's a guy who did the solar stuff, by the way. So Alberto, are you happy with your solar purchase? He was saying he was using about 650 kilowatt hours a month, and I think my understanding was his whole PV array is providing him over 650 kilowatt hours a month. Now, he does live in California, so it's easier to do in California than Seattle, but I thought it was pretty interesting. At 62, there's much advantage to doing you should always do a Roth conversion, Chris. As opposed to just a taxable account. There's no, I mean, other than that 5-year window before you have access to it tax-free, other than that, Roth dwarfs the taxable account without question. So I would always do the Roth. Again, unless I need that money within 5 years, absolutely. I would do the Roth without question. All right, so it looks like I'm going to answer. I got some other questions I've been wanting to talk to you guys about too. So also, if you don't mind, give me a thumbs up if you think the case studies are the way to go. I don't want to say predominant amount, but a large amount of case studies on my course. Let me know. Give me a thumbs up there, because for me, I'm kind of inclined to think that people like case studies, and you only have so much time on a course. I'm like, well, if I do it won't be all case studies, but if I do case studies and then I do kind of definitions, not definitions. Because the case studies allow you to strategize, if that makes sense. So, or put in the comments if you would. All right, so let's see what we got here. Yeah, case studies, right on. Yeah, I get that a lot, Deb. All right, so I want to share with you some Q&A. Deb, yeah, right on, Jack. All right, cool. And Deb, you just got into software. The software has just changed. It's still the same stuff, but in fact, just for all you just coming here new, Right Capital has changed. It looks pretty good. I had a guy, Tracy, or I think Tracy's the guy, say that he or she liked it. I like it too. It's just, it caught me off guard. I was like, whoa, on the cash flow. I was like, where are the expenses? And it's just, you just got to click the column that says cash flow or expenses or something like that. Yeah, Richard, I get this question a lot. When making yearly conversions, should you have multiple or 1 year? Frankly, I think having multiple accounts is a pain in the butt. No other way around that. But I tell you, it's so much easier in that regard, saying Roth conversion 2020. Well, here it is, 2026. Inherently, Roth conversion 2020 is open for me now. And you can just, like a USA, I'm sure you can do a Vanguard, Schwab. You just title it Roth conversion 2020. You just retitle the account name. That's your 25,000 going there. Next year, Roth conversion 2021. That's your, you know what I'm saying? Just like that. I mean, you're going to have a bunch of accounts. It's a pain, but it's really not that big of a deal. Yeah. So I would do it like that personally. All right. So let me just see some Q&A here, because I've been meaning to do this for a long time. It's that thing when you do these videos and you like it, it puts everything else. I mean, just, this is what I want to do. I mean, it's weird, man, what you do. All right. So here we got one from Inherited IRAs. Question from Kansas City. All right. The guy, so this guy or lady, they talk to a trust attorney and go through their parents' trust. It looks like we're not real happy as to what we found. He has 2 IRAs, not Roth IRAs, a home that is paid off and a farm that is paid off with 3 life insurance policies. The investor has his IRAs, who he loves and has been doing very well. Upon his demise, the trust trustees would take over the IRAs for him and would invest it as they see fit. As my sister and myself would need to pull any funds, we have to go before the trustee, exactly, and ask permission for their money. It's 100% right, my friend. And they make 1% a year. My father agrees not good. He is adding my name to the deed on the farm and adding my sister's name to it. How do we protect all from probate? Going around, okay. So here's the thing that friggin' infuriates me. You got it, Richard. So basically what's happening is the dad has a lot of assets, it looks like, IRAs, some life insurance, and a farm. And they said, we're going to put this into a trust to avoid probate and stuff. And then the trustee, all right, so certainly a corporate trustee or at least an investment advisor to a corporate trustee, they're all getting paid off the dad's money at his demise, presumably when he dies. I'm sure it's not an irrevocable trust. I'm sure it's a living trust. And so what happens here, we'll call this guy Larry. I assume it's a man. Larry says, yeah, when the dad's dead, I need money. And he's got to go before the trustee, which is the banker, and say, I need money. And they're like, well, your dad only allowed you, 5% a year, whatever it is. And Larry says, I need 10% a year because I got to put some kids in college. And there's, well, sorry, we can't do it. Now, the trustee can make the decision on whether or not to do that or not. But why should the trustee get between the dad and the kids? Now, I don't know the family dynamics here in terms of what's going on with a trust, and maybe these kids are freaking sniffing up their nose. I don't know. But why would you do that? If it's all to avoid probate, there's so many other ways to do that. Just put in a living trust to avoid probate and then make your kids the co-trustee with the dad or the successor trustee. But why hire some investment advisor at 1% on top of a corporate trustee? It's nuts. Don't do that. Easy ways to avoid probate. I don't like the idea that the dad's going to put his name on the deed with a kid. That's not good. I mean, that's going to violate step-up basis. Don't do that. You don't want to add an owner to an account that you probably had for multiple generations. Don't do that. That's just going to violate some estate planning issues there in terms of now the kid will inherit half the property and the other half is already his own. So we have a significant lower cost basis there. Absolutely do not do that. But if you're just trying to avoid probate, lots of easy ways to do that. And probate's not that big of a deal. I'm sorry. I mean, yeah, it can be a pain. I get it. But it's not the big of a deal to pay a corporate trustee and to pay an investment advisor just so you can avoid probate. And I'm telling you, too, don't forget, here, my friends, a living trust, a revocable living trust, at your death, it becomes irrevocable. It's locked. Lock, stock, and barrel. I cannot stress this enough. I hear all the time, well, it's revocable. You as the grantor, presumably the dad is the grantor, i.e. he's the one who opened the trust and funded it, and he's probably he's probably the trustee. I'm sure he's got the trustee. I'd be stunned if he were not. You as a grantor can change the revocable living trust anytime you want, without question, because it's yours. It all flows back to your social security number. You still own it. You're still in charge, large in charge. At your death, that doesn't work like that. It can't be changed other than if the trustee, what's called a successor trustee, can appear before some judge and say, look, judge, I need to change this because it's jacked up or something like that. I'm telling you, man, people don't understand this. A revocable living trust is not a big deal while you're alive. And people say, it's not that big of a deal. It is a big deal at your death, especially if you name trustees, the people who manage that account, that aren't your family members. Just keep that in mind, please. I'm begging you, I'm not saying don't get a trust. Look, I'm furthest thing from saying don't give a trust. I told you, I don't think I have it. I share with you the book, Living Trust. I bought that. It's great. Trust by Vicky Schumacher is the first. At the end of the day, though, if you're just trying to avoid probate, oh, man, I'm freaking buffering here. Jeez, beautiful sunny day out there. I can't believe I'm buffering here. So anyway, we're back. Anyway, so living trust, I'm not saying don't get one. I'm just saying understand there are some ramifications that a lot of people don't recognize on a living trust. That's sad. All right, let's see what else we got for Q&As. The dad dies, they don't get access to money. All right, so here's one here from my man Joe. Might be good to create a new video for. Would it be better to collect at 62 in invested funds rather than wait till age 70? Since our benefits will be possibly reduced anyway. All right. So he's just asking what my thoughts are on the reduction of Social Security benefits. I've actually, it's like the fourth time I got this in the last 2 days. Who are they going to reduce it for? I mean, when has the government ever taken benefits away? I mean, literally, they never have. The only thing they do is they tax people who don't realize they're being taxed right now. And what I mean by that is they'll make it means tested. They'll tax the future generations. They'll raise taxes on the wealthy, whatever that is. But I don't. This whole thing that Social Security. I mean, you got to too. If you look at the Social Security Trustees report, make sure okay. There are three things in there. We got the low, medium, intermediate, and high. The trustees report is the intermediate, which says unemployment is at 5.5%. Inflation is on the moderately high scale, and I think it's 3%. I can't remember. But anyway, they're saying the unemployment will be 5.5% from now until 2024. 2094. It's a 75-year thing they're looking at. We're not having unemployment at 5.5% from now until 2094. Why? Because we don't have it right now. Could we have it? Sure. But you're going in there making some pretty steep assumptions that aren't even anywhere near where we are today. Not at all. And so if you look at the trustees report from a low perspective of unemployment, that's 4.5%. Where are we now? 3.5, man. 3.5. So you got high, low, and high, intermediate, and low when it comes to unemployment. And the whole thing is based on unemployment because Social Security employment taxes, FICA is what we pay to fund the system. So low, 4.5% unemployment with when we're at 3.5% now. And yet we're using an intermediate report that says 5.5% unemployment forever to the next 75 years to say that we're going to run out of, or we're going to reduce our benefits by 23%. And then on top of it, just again, when has the government ever reduced spending on benefits? And again, this is not welfare. This is your money. But when have they ever reduced spending, welfare or not? Never mind your own benefits. It's not going to happen. So I think people need to stop worrying about that so much. Medicare is a different story now. Medicare, this is what cracks me up about Medicare. So my man Jae space OH, Korean, or a Korean descendant. His dad's an MD up in Michigan, and he's a guy who writes Maximize Your Medicare. He wrote the book, Maximize Your Medicare, and I've interviewed him a number of times. Medicare is a big difference because what's going to happen is they don't squeeze you, they squeeze the doctors in the hospitals. And what they do when they squeeze the doctors in the hospitals, because Medicare is hurting. I mean, hell, Newt Gingrich and John Boehner said this. Yeah, I know. I keep looking at my yard. I keep saying, I better get out there. And I keep saying, one more. I said I was doing this. I wanted to mow my yard, and I said I'd just get on the live stream. And Jeff just says, "Whoo! I was getting ready to mow my yard and looking for any excuse to get out of it. That's why I need one of those robot mowers, Jeff, that you have." So I'm just looking at that yard out there, and it's sunny. And it's gonna be hot here the next couple of days. So I'm like, I better knock that sucker out. So all right, I'll just finish this up and we'll be done. But Jay, so he says what's going to happen is when they reduce the payments to Medicare, they're not reducing it to, decreasing your premiums or anything like that. They're reducing the doctors in the hospital. And so because of that, the doctors in the hospitals, they're not stupid. The doctors are going to say, we have what's called Part B excessive rates or charges. And look, I'm not an expert at this, but I know what this is. I've learned it now from Jay and a couple and Danielle Roberts. That means if they normally charge you $30,000 and Medicare pays the whole thing, and they don't have an excessive charge for your Part B, Medicare pays the whole thing. But now they're used to living on $30,000 because that's what Medicare used to charge. So they're like, yeah, I'm used to living on $30,000, all good. If Medicare reduces it by 10%, payments to doctors and hospitals, now the doctor says, I can only charge $27,000, but I do get a 15% excess charge that Medicare allows. But the excess charge isn't paid by Medicare. It's paid by either you or your supplemental policy or your Medicare Advantage. In this case, is Part G as in golf, not Part N as in November. So $27,000 times 1.15. The doctor's now sitting at $31,050 because they get a right to charge 15% excess charge. So before hey, what's going on, Rob? Happy Boston Bruins. They were only charging $30,000 before to Medicare, but now you or somebody's out of pocket $31,050 because the doctor says, well, hell, I took a pay cut. Yeah, right. I took a pay. Brady, Thomas, touchdown, Tommy. But now I'm going to charge, the excess charge, which actually puts $4,000 in my $1,000 more in my pocket. But that $4,000 more is on you or your insurance company. So you better be careful of that because that's going to happen big time. And more doctors are going to start doing that. And so I find that everyone's focused on Social Security. I just think they need to focus on Medicare because Medicare is dying. But Medicare for all, it can work. It can work. Yeah. Why don't they just do this? Yeah, Carrie, my heart's gone too. Why don't they just say, hey, instead of the employer having anything to do with this, say, here's freaking $20,000 a year, Josh. Go take care of business, man. So USAA was paying for my family and me $24,000 a year. How did I know? Because that's what my COBRA was. $24,000 a year. And we were a self-insured company. All right. So $24,000 a year for old Josh and the 5 others of us here. Why don't USA just say, here's $20,000, go shop around. It's a voucher. Go find what you can. And then they can mandate, if you need public option because you have pre-existing conditions or something like that, you have some separate policy. I got no problem with that. But say, here's $20,000. I guarantee flipping to you immediately you see the price drop immediately because people know they're shopping with their own money. They're going to say, wait a second. Why the hell would I pay freaking, I don't know, to get my that thing strep throat swipe for $300 when I can just go over here and pay $50? I guarantee that's going to happen or would have happened. But no, that means there's too much freedom. Can't have that because old Josh might blow the money. Okay, he blows the money. It's no different than if you don't get life insurance. You should have had life insurance. You don't. The government, not yet at least, they don't come and rush in there to say, all right, Mrs. Smith, we wish you would have had life insurance, but you didn't. Here's $2 million to pay your mortgage. I mean, at some point, there is some personal responsibility that has to come into account here. Anyway, all right, do they not know Yeah, Rob, come on. Socialism is literally a fantasy land. And when you live, breathe, and die socialism, you can say Medicare covers everything. It's fantasy. We know that. But Josh, that's so political. Socialism is evil. It's evil, my friends. That is one area I will always be political. That and CO2. I'm looking at all the CO2 the ground is scooping up right now of my trees and my grass. And I want to go down there and release some of that. So, all right, I'll let you guys go. Appreciate y'all being here on a Thursday afternoon. Go mow your lawn, my friends, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, Tom. Oops, how do I stop that thing? Right there. Boink.